In this video clip, we are going to cover lesson practice number 1 from set 1 in this section of the notes. And the instructions read, find the principal square root for each expression below. And when we go to find the square root of a radical, there's really two roots to it. There's a positive and negative root. Now the principal square root is that positive root. So we're just going to state the principal square root, or the positive root. So let's do the first one. It is the square root of 225. Now, to use the radical on the calculator, we need to use the second function of the x squared button. And the x squared button is located just above your log button. In order to use that second function, we have to press the second button first. We'll see the arrow up on our screen, and that means we're going to use the second function of whatever button we're going to press next. And when I press x squared, I'm bringing up the radical, because that is the second function of x squared. And now I'm ready to enter in my 225. And I'm going to close this radical off by doing the right parenthesis and hit enter. And so we have 15 as our answer. Let's do the next one. Press second x squared, enter in 400, close your parenthesis, or close your radical I should say, and then hit enter, and that's 20. The square root of 289, go second x squared, 289, hit enter, that's 17, and then the last one is 225 again. And we already know that one. That one's 15. We're not going to do it again. So let's go ahead and write our answers down. So this first one we had 15. The square root of 400 was 20. The square root of 289 was 17. And again, this is going to be the same answer as our first one here, 15. So go ahead and complete your lesson practice number 2. In this video clip, we are going to cover lesson practice number 1 from set 2 in this section of the notes. And the instructions read, find the principal square root for each expression, state whether each square root is rational, irrational, or not real. So let's go ahead and enter these in just like we did in the set of notes before this. And we're going to enter in the square root of 17 in our calculator. So go second x squared, which we're using the second function of x squared, which is the square root sign. Enter in 17, and then close your radical with the other parenthesis. Hit enter. And then we can see that this decimal does not round, and that this number under here was not a perfect square. So this root came out to be irrational. So let's go ahead and write that down. Our answer first, which was 4.123105626, and that is an irrational root. Let's do the square root of 121. So we'll second x squared, type in 121, close that parenthesis or close that radical, hit enter, and we have 11. So this root came out to be a nice number, and this was a rational root. Let's do negative 225. Hit second x squared to bring up the radical. Type in negative 225. Close your radical, hit enter. And then you'll see that we have an error on our calculator screen. It says non-real answer. And that is because we're taking the square root of a negative number. And anytime you do so, your answers are not going to be real. And if you haven't learned about this so far, they end up being imaginary roots. So let's just write that down here. There's no answer, and we will just put imaginary root. And let's type in the square root of 1,000. Let's see what happens there. So let's go back to the calculator, and I'm just going to hit enter. This is going to quit this screen right here, this error screen right here, and go back to my home screen in which I can do calculations now. So I'll go second x squared, 1,000, Close my radical, hit enter, and you can see that this did not come out to be a nice number. This is going to be an irrational root. So let's copy that down. So we have 31.6227766, and this is irrational. So go ahead and complete your lesson practice number 2.